dairy safe to eat after cancer? Dr. Amy here, and in this video, I'm showing you exactly what you need to know about dairy after cancer, what to avoid, and what's safe. Now, many women wonder if dairy is harmful for cancer survivors. If you have hormone-positive breast cancer, can you still eat dairy? Eat yogurt? Drink milk? What about cheese? Do you need to cut that out too? Well, if you love some of these foods, then there is good news coming your way. You can add some of them back in, but not all. Here is exactly what you need to know. So exactly why are some breast cancer survivors so scared of milk or dairy after cancer? It's been thought that the hormones in dairy, well, when you ingest them, they can actually increase the hormones in your body, leading to cancer or cancer recurrence. Now, milk is a complex food. It contains hormones, and there's actually further concern by individuals because cows are actually being injected with hormones to help them produce even more milk. And if you have that concern, that makes complete sense. There are two main hormones found in milk. The first is estrogen, and the second is bovine somatropin. Now, estrogen, we already know, is a naturally occurring hormone. And milk does contain some estrogen, but a pretty minimal amount of it. So you would think that small amount would have a minimal impact and wouldn't be much of a concern in terms of your cancer risk. But let's look at this other hormone that you might not have heard of, this bovine somatropin hormone. This is what we also call a recombinant growth hormone. Now, ranchers or farmers, they actually inject cattle with this hormone to help them produce more milk. This is really why many people have become concerned about dairy and breast cancer. It's because of this bovine somatropin. By common logic, you would think that more hormones, especially synthetic ones, would increase your risk of cancer. And if these cattle are pumped full of all kinds of growth hormones and we ingest that milk or dairy, then wouldn't we be receiving those hormones too? But the amount of bovine somatropin that farmers or ranchers are allowed to give to cattle really varies between countries, if they're allowed to give it at all. So the amount of this hormone given to a cattle in the US versus the UK versus Canada would be really different. You know, there are a lot of positive aspects to dairy and milk as well. Vitamin D and calcium are both known to lower the risk of breast cancer or breast cancer recurrence. If women are receiving these vitamins and minerals through milk, cheese, or yogurt, then they would be getting the positive aspects of those too. It would lower their risk of breast cancer, and potentially the good would outweigh the bad. But this is all just a hypothesis. So let's see what the science actually says. There's been a tremendous amount of research and studies on this topic, so let's dive in. But let's look at this study that was released in 2020 that summarizes 8 different studies on this topic. Because it looked at 8 different studies in one statistical analysis, the results are thought to be pretty powerful. And they found that there is no increased risk of breast cancer among women who drank milk or ate dairy. They looked at low-fat milk, whole milk, and yogurt, and found that none were associated with an increased risk of breast cancer. But this is 2020, which is a couple of years ago now, so let's look to see if there's more recent literature. Luckily, we have a study published in 2023. They built on the results published in that 2020 study and actually summarized 18 different studies that look at this topic. Even stronger now. This study actually found that the consumption of dairy was actually inversely related to your breast cancer risk. That means the more dairy you ate, the lower your risk of breast cancer. This doesn't make sense though, right? There should be some increased risk of cancer because of these added hormones. But when we further examine the bovine somatropin hormone, it's been found to have no biological activity in humans. This means that even if we ingest the hormones in milk, it will have no impact on our bodies, which is what is seen in these studies here. So if you're a dairy lover, rest assured. Well, almost. Okay, so overall, dairy and milk, it does appear to be safe for breast cancer survivors. But there's something else that you need to consider. There's an increased risk of breast cancer among women who drink whole milk or eat full-fat dairy. Let's look at this further. Certain types of dairy, like full-fat milk, are now being looked at as increasing your risk of breast cancer. The Nurses Health Initiative, which is a very well-known data set that's published many studies, looked at this exact question. They found that women who ate 2 servings of full-fat dairy a day increased their risk of breast cancer. They showed that women who ate as little as 1 cup of whole milk and 1 serving of butter a day increased their risk of getting breast cancer. This could also include foods like whole milk, full-fat yogurt, or butter. Now, we don't exactly know why this is yet, but we can theorize. Full-fat milk is high in calories. If you consume it too often, you might put on a bit of weight. Excessive body fat or being at an unhealthy body weight, that can increase your risk of cancer or a cancer recurrence, which means it's possible that the increased risk of cancer or a cancer recurrence isn't necessarily due to the full-fat dairy, but it's due to the excess calories. And it's actually those excess calories that result in a higher or unhealthy body weight that then increases your risk of cancer. There's just really no evidence right now that's very convincing that you should completely and totally stop eating dairy products. All the most recent literature points towards it being safe. But full-fat dairy, that's concerning to me. While many women struggle to maintain a healthy body weight after cancer, it's going to be even tougher if you're regularly eating or drinking full-fat dairy. And there are so many reasons why we end up gaining weight after cancer or cancer treatment. Surgery restrictions, steroids, anti-hormonal therapies, all of these contribute to the point where you likely have gained weight during cancer or cancer treatment. And that's what happens to most women and what happened to me. But by reducing the amount of full-fat dairy you eat or avoiding excess calories, that could be helpful in lowering back your body weight. This is exactly what I suggest for the women that work with me in the Cancer Freedom Program. I'll put the link below. Now, with all of that being said, there are still plenty of non-dairy alternatives that you can pick from. If you still want to enjoy milk or add it to your coffee or a smoothie, then you could switch to a plant-based alternative, like soy milk. Now, soy is rich in protein and vitamins and minerals that are great for your body, especially as a cancer survivor. Not to mention that it's low in calories and it can even help reduce your cholesterol. Soy milk actually contains a lot of the same nutrients and vitamins that you would get from dairy milk, although it's completely plant-based. Now, breast cancer survivors may have concerns about soy being a phytoestrogen, and if that's the case, be sure to check out my other video on soy for breast cancer survivors. Now, if you don't want to use soy milk or you don't like the taste, there's still more great plant-based alternatives that you can pick from. Things like almond milk or oat milk. But if you prefer to stick with dairy milk, then just pick low-fat alternatives. And that's exactly what I personally do as a 7-year cancer survivor. And that goes for all dairy products. The best practice is to pick low-fat or reduced-fat dairy options. Low-fat yogurt, low-fat cheese, and low-fat ice cream. And most of these options also have dairy-free or plant-based alternatives, so you can experiment and cater to what you like the most. And that way, you can be more mindful of the amount of calories you eat, since keeping a healthy body weight is a great way to minimize your risk of cancer or a cancer recurrence. Okay, so now that you know about dairy and cancer, the next thing you need to know about is soy and cancer. That's exactly why I'm linking up this next video for you here. Click the link here. I'll see you in the next video.